The Green Maw, a sci-fi story. Part 1. The jungle was already closing behind them. Rhea didn't notice it at first, not consciously. She only felt the pressure of it, the way the air thickened as if the forest exhaled against her back. The crash site was less than 100 meters behind, but the path they'd carved through the undergrowth was gone. Not overgrown. Gone. As if the foliage had flowed back into place like liquid. She tightened her grip on the heat-damp handle of her machete. "Keep moving," she said. "Don't look back." Jalen looked back anyway. It was open. "I swear it was open." "It was," Rhea said. "Now it's not." The canopy above them pulsed with slow, bioluminescent veins, faint green threads that brightened whenever someone spoke. Rhea lowered her voice. "Sound discipline. No shouting." The vines overhead brightened again, as if in response. Jalen swallowed. "It's listening. It's reacting," Rhea corrected. "Not the same thing." But she didn't believe that anymore. Not after the last hour. Not after the forest had moved. The first signs. The humidity was a living thing. It clung to their skin, their clothes, their lungs. Every breath tasted like wet soil and fermenting leaves. The crash had scattered the colonists across a radius of several kilometers. But Rhea's group, the ones who'd been in the aft section, had landed mostly intact. Mostly. They'd pulled themselves out of the wreckage, coughing through smoke and spores, and stumbled into a clearing that hadn't existed moments before. The jungle had parted around the burning hull like a wound. Then it began to close. Slowly at first. Then faster. Rhea had ordered them to move. Now, an hour later, the clearing was sealed behind them, swallowed by the forest as if the crash had never happened. The heat draws it. A vine brushed Rhea's shoulder. She froze. The vine wasn't dangling. It was reaching. Its tip glowed faintly, a soft green pulse that brightened as it neared the warmth of her skin. She stepped away. The vine followed. "Heat," she whispered. "It's attracted to heat." Jalen exhaled shakily. "We're heat. Everything we do is heat. Then we stay cool," Rhea said. "Move slow. No sudden bursts." Behind them, the vine recoiled slightly, as if disappointed. The jungle rearranges. They walked in single file, Rhea at the front, Jalen behind her, and the others, Kira, Tomas and little Mylo, following in silence. Mylo was only 12, but he hadn't cried once. He walked with a grim, stunned determination that made Rhea's chest tighten. The path ahead twisted sharply. It hadn't twisted before. Rhea stopped. "This wasn't like this," Kira whispered. "It's changing the layout." Tomas wiped sweat from his brow. "Why would a forest do that?" Rhea didn't answer. She didn't need to. They all felt it. The sense of being funneled, guided, herded. The vines overhead pulsed again. The first predator. They heard it before they saw it. A soft, rhythmic clicking, like two stones tapping together. The sound echoed through the trees, bouncing strangely, as if the forest itself was amplifying it. Rhea raised a hand. "Stop!" The clicking grew louder. Then the undergrowth parted. The creature that emerged was the color of moss and wet stone. Its body was long and low, like a panther stretched too far, with limbs that bent in ways that made Rhea's stomach twist. Its eyes glowed faintly green, reflecting the bioluminescent veins above. It clicked again. The vines overhead brightened. "It's using the forest," Jalen whispered. "No," Rhea said. "The forest is using it." The creature lunged. Rhea swung her machete, not at the creature, but at the glowing vine above her. The blade sliced through it, releasing a burst of cold, luminescent sap. The creature recoiled instantly, hissing. "Light," Rhea said. "It doesn't like the sap." The creature circled them, clicking rapidly, but it didn't cross the line of spilled luminescence. "Move," Rhea said. "Now." They slipped past the creature, staying close to the glowing sap. The creature paced them for several meters, then melted back into the foliage. The vines dimmed. The jungle exhaled. The spore cloud. They reached a narrow ravine where the air shimmered with faint green motes. Rhea stopped instantly. "Spore cloud," she said. "Hold your breath. Move fast." But the spores drifted toward them, not randomly, but purposefully, like a swarm of insects following a scent trail. Mylo coughed. The spores surged. Rhea grabbed him, pulling her shirt over his face. "Don't breathe." The spores thickened, forming a cloud that pulsed with faint bioluminescence. Rhea swung her machete through it, but the spores simply parted and reformed. Then Tomas panicked. He ran. The spores followed. "Tomas!" Kira shouted. The vines overhead brightened violently. "Tomas, stop!" Rhea hissed. But Tomas didn't stop. He sprinted blindly into the ravine, disappearing into the shimmering haze. The spores surged after him. His scream was short, cut off. The vines dimmed. The jungle went still. Mylo trembled. "Is he?" "Yes," Rhea said. "He's gone." She didn't soften it. There was no room for softness here. The maze tightens. They moved on, slower now, more cautious. The jungle seemed to sense their fear. The vines pulsed more frequently. The paths shifted more aggressively. Twice, Rhea had to backtrack when the forest closed in front of them like a tightening throat. "It's funneling us," Jalen said. "Toward what?" Rhea didn't answer, because she already knew. Toward the center. Toward whatever the forest wanted them to see. The night shift. Night fell abruptly, as if someone had flipped a switch. The bioluminescent veins brightened, casting eerie green light across the jungle floor. The air grew colder, but the vines grew more active, reaching toward any source of warmth. "We need shelter," Rhea said. They found a hollow beneath a massive root system, a natural alcove shielded from the vines above. Rhea checked it carefully for predators, spores, and anything that glowed. It was safe. For now. They huddled together, sharing body heat. Mylo leaned against Rhea, shivering. "Why is it doing this?" he whispered. Rhea stared into the glowing jungle. "Because it's alive," she said. "Not just the plants. The whole ecosystem. It's one organism." Jalen swallowed. "A superorganism," Kira whispered. "Then what are we?" Rhea didn't answer, because the answer was obvious. Prey. The dreaming forest. Rhea didn't sleep, but she drifted. A half-conscious haze where the jungle's glow pulsed in time with her heartbeat. She felt the forest around her, shifting, breathing, thinking. She saw patterns in the vines, fractal shapes that repeated endlessly, like neural pathways. She saw the predators moving through the undergrowth, guided by pulses of light. She saw the spores drifting in deliberate patterns, forming nets and funnels. She saw the forest rearranging itself, closing paths, opening others. She saw herself, a heat source, a sound source, a moving piece on a board. She woke with a gasp. The jungle was brighter, the vines were closer, and the path they'd used to reach the alcove was gone. The herding begins. They set out at dawn, or what passed for dawn, in a place where the canopy filtered all natural light. The vines pulsed softly, guiding them forward. "We don't have a choice," Jalen said. "It's pushing us." "Then we push back," Rhea said. But the forest didn't allow resistance. Every time they tried to veer off the glowing path, the vines thickened, the predators clicked in the distance, and the spores drifted closer. The forest wasn't just reacting. It was directing. The bioluminescent river. They reached a river that glowed from within, a slow, pulsing light that traveled along the current like a heartbeat. The water was thick with algae that responded to their presence, brightening whenever they stepped closer. "We can't cross that," Kira said. "It'll sense us instantly." Rhea scanned the banks. The forest behind them tightened. The predators clicked. The spores drifted. "We cross," Rhea said. "Now." She stepped into the water. The algae brightened violently. The river surged. Something moved beneath the surface. Something big. Move! Rhea shouted. They splashed across the river, the water glowing brighter with every step. The thing beneath them followed, its shape a massive shadow that rippled through the bioluminescent current. Mylo slipped. Rhea grabbed him, hauling him upright. The shadow surged upward. A massive, tendril-lined maw broke the surface, snapping inches from Mylo's leg. They stumbled onto the far bank, gasping. The maw sank back into the glowing depths. The river dimmed. The jungle pulsed. The clearing of bones. The forest opened suddenly into a wide clearing filled with bones. Human bones, animal bones, alien bones. All bleached white, all arranged in spirals. Mylo clutched Rhea's arm. "What is this?" "A feeding ground," Jalen whispered. "No," Rhea said. "A message." The vines overhead brightened. The spirals pulsed. The forest was showing them something. A warning, or a promise. The heartbeat. They moved through the clearing, stepping carefully between the spirals. The air vibrated faintly, a low hum that resonated in their bones. Kira stopped. "Do you hear that?" Rhea nodded. A heartbeat. Slow. Massive. Every pulse made the vines brighten. Every pulse made the ground tremble. "We're close," Rhea said. "Close to what?" Jalen whispered. Rhea looked at the spirals, at the vines, at the glowing river behind them. "At the center," she said. "At the thing that controls all this." Mylo's voice was barely a whisper. "The green maw." Rhea didn't correct him, because he was right. The descent. The path sloped downward, the air growing warmer, thicker, more humid. The vines pulsed faster. The predators clicked more frequently. The spores drifted in dense clouds that parted just enough to let them through. The forest wasn't trying to kill them now. It was guiding them, inviting them. The heartbeat grew louder. The ground vibrated. The path opened into a cavern of roots and bioluminescent tendrils that pulsed like veins. At the center was a pit. A deep, glowing pit. The heartbeat came from within. Rhea stepped forward. The vines parted. The pit pulsed. And something inside it moved. The maw awakens. The glow intensified, flooding the cavern with green light. The pit expanded, its edges lined with tendrils that writhed like fingers. A massive, circular mouth opened. Not a creature, not a plant, something in between. A biological engine, a thinking ecosystem, a living trap. The green maw, it pulsed once, twice. Then it spoke. Not with words, with light, with heat, with pressure. Images flooded Rhea's mind. The crash, the forest rearranging, the predators, the spores, the spirals of bone. A message, a purpose, a need. The maw wasn't hunting them. It was selecting them, choosing. Rhea staggered back, gasping. Jalen grabbed her. What did it do? Rhea stared into the glowing pit. "It wants something," she said. The maw pulsed. The vines tightened. The predators clicked. The spores thickened. Mylo whispered, "What does it want?" Rhea swallowed. "You," she said. Part 2. Mylo froze. The vines around the pit brightened, pulsing in a rhythm that matched the maw's heartbeat. The glow washed over his face, painting him in shifting green light. He looked impossibly small against the vast, breathing organism beneath them. "Me?" he whispered. Rhea stepped between him and the pit. "No one is going anywhere." The maw pulsed again, harder this time. The cavern trembled. The vines tightened around the walls like muscles contracting. Jalen grabbed Rhea's arm. "We can't fight this." "We don't have to fight it," Rhea said. "We just have to not obey it." The maw disagreed. The ground split. A tendril shot upward, thick as a tree trunk, lined with smaller tendrils that writhed like fingers. It didn't strike. It reached, hovering inches from Mylo's chest. Mylo whimpered. Rhea swung her machete. The blade hit the tendril and bounced off. The tendril didn't even flinch. Instead, It wrapped gently around the blade, absorbing the heat from the metal. The machete's surface frosted over as the tendril drained it of warmth. Rhea yanked it free and stumbled back. The maw pulsed again. The message was clear. Give me the boy. The choice. Kira stepped forward, shaking. Rhea, maybe it's right. Maybe it needs him. It doesn't need him, Rhea snapped. It wants him. Jalen's voice cracked. What's the difference here? Rhea stared at the maw. The maw stared back, not with eyes, but with intention, with hunger, with purpose. This thing isn't a predator, she said. It's a system, a machine, a biological machine. It's selecting for something. Mylo clung to her sleeve. I don't want to go. You're not going anywhere, Rhea said. The maw pulsed again. Faster now, impatient. The cavern walls shifted. The exit sealed behind them, roots weaving together like a closing throat. Jalen whispered, We're trapped. No, Rhea said. We're being tested. The signal. The maw's glow intensified, flooding the cavern with blinding green light. Rhea shielded her eyes. The light wasn't random. It flickered in patterns, fractal sequences that repeated and evolved. Kira gasped. It's communicating. Rhea nodded. It's showing us something. The light sharpened into images. Not literal pictures, but impressions, memories, sensations. A seed drifting through space. A world consumed. A forest spreading across continents. Predators evolving to serve it. Spores forming networks. The maw at the center thinking, directing, growing. Then a new image. Humans. The crash. The survivors. Mylo. The maw pulsed. A final image appeared. A shape. A silhouette. A human figure glowing with green light. Mylo. Older. Changed. Connected. Rhea staggered back. It wants to integrate him. Jalen whispered. Into what? Rhea swallowed. Into itself. The rebellion. The maw's tendril reached again. Rhea stepped in front of Mylo. No. The cavern trembled violently. The vines lashed out, slamming into the ground around them. The predators outside clicked in agitation. The spores thickened at the cavern's mouth. The maw pulsed, furious. Kira screamed as a vine wrapped around her ankle, dragging her toward the pit. Rhea lunged, grabbing Kira's arms. Hold on. Jalen hacked at the vine with his knife, but the blade barely scratched it. The maw pulsed again. The vine tightened. Kira's scream echoed through the cavern. Rhea made a decision. She grabbed the glowing vine overhead, the one she'd cut earlier in the forest, and squeezed it hard. Cold luminescent sap burst out, splashing across the cavern floor. The mole recoiled. The vines loosened. Kira scrambled free, sobbing. Rhea stood, panting. It doesn't like its own sap. Jalen stared at her. How does that make sense? It's not the sap, Rhea said. It's the rupture. The damage. The signal of injury. The maw pulsed again. Slower now, calculating. Rhea realized something. It's not invincible, she said. It's just big. The escape attempt. The cavern walls shifted again, opening a narrow passage to the left. Not an exit, a corridor, a choice. It's giving us a way out, Jalen said. No, Rhea said. It's giving us a path. Kira wiped her eyes. A path to what? Rhea stared into the glowing corridor. To whatever comes next. The maw pulsed, urging them forward. Rhea tightened her grip on her machete. We move. Stay close. They entered the corridor. The walls pulsed with green veins. The air grew warmer. The heartbeat grew louder. Mylo whispered, It's following us. No, Rhea said. We're inside it. The Chamber of Echoes. The corridor opened into a vast chamber lined with bioluminescent pods. Each pod contained a shape, some human, some alien, some unrecognizable, all suspended in glowing fluid. Kira gagged. What is this? An archive, Rhea said. A memory bank. Jalen stepped closer to one of the pods. Inside was a creature with elongated limbs and a skull-like face. Its eyes were open, watching, alive. Jalen stumbled back. They're conscious. Rhea nodded grimly. It's storing them, studying them, learning from them. Mylo pointed to a pod near the center. Inside was a human, a woman. Her eyes were open. Her mouth moved silently. Kira whispered, "Is she alive?" Rhea stepped closer. The woman's eyes locked onto hers. She mouthed a single word. "Run." The maw pulsed violently. The chamber shook. The pods brightened. The woman's eyes widened in terror. Rhea grabbed Mylo. "Move!" The pursuit. The chamber erupted. Pods burst open, spilling glowing fluid across the floor. Tendrils shot out from the walls, whipping toward them. The ground split, revealing more tendrils beneath. The maw was done waiting. It wanted Mylo. Rhea shoved the others toward a narrow tunnel at the far end of the chamber. "Go!" A tendril lashed toward Mylo. Rhea intercepted it, swinging her machete with all her strength. The blade sliced through the tendril, barely, releasing a spray of cold sap. The mole recoiled. Rhea grabbed Mylo's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the tunnel as the chamber collapsed behind them. The heartbeat grew frantic, shaking the walls. The maw was angry, very angry. The surface. The tunnel sloped upward. Light appeared ahead. Real light, not bioluminescence. They burst out of the tunnel and stumbled into a clearing. The sky above was a hazy green, filtered through the dense canopy. The air was cooler here, quieter. For a moment they breathed. Then the ground trembled. The maw was rising. The clearing split open as massive tendrils erupted from the soil, forming a ring around them. The vines overhead brightened, forming a dome of pulsing green light. They were trapped. Again. Jalen collapsed to his knees. "We can't keep running," Kira sobbed. "It won't stop." Rhea looked at Mylo. He looked back, terrified, exhausted, but alive. And something else. Something new. His skin glowed faintly. Green. Rhea's breath caught. "Mylo, when did that start?" "I don't know," he whispered. "It feels warm." The maw pulsed beneath them. The tendrils tightened. The vines brightened. The forest leaned in, waiting. The revelation. Mylo stepped forward. Rhea grabbed him. "No." He shook his head. I think it's talking to me." Rhea froze. Jalen whispered, "What is it saying?" Mylo closed his eyes. The glow beneath his skin brightened. "It's scared." Rhea blinked. "Scared of what?" Mylo opened his eyes. They glowed. "Of dying." The ground trembled violently. The maw pulsed, desperate, pleading. Mylo continued, voice trembling. "It's old, very old. It's been alone for a long time. It needs someone to connect to, someone who can understand it." Rhea shook her head. "It wants to consume you." "No," Mylo said softly. "It wants to merge, to share, to survive." Kira whispered, "Mylo, you can't." Mylo looked at Rhea. "Maybe I can." The decision. The maw pulsed again, softer now, almost gentle. The tendrils lowered. The vines dimmed. The forest waited. Rhea's throat tightened. "Mylo, you don't owe it anything." "I know," he said. "But maybe this is why we survived. Why it brought us here." Rhea shook her head. "It didn't bring us here. We crashed." Mylo looked at the glowing veins beneath his skin. "Maybe it called us." The ground trembled. The maw pulsed. Rhea grabbed his shoulders. "If you do this, you might not come back." Mylo smiled weakly. "I know." He stepped toward the center of the clearing. The tendrils parted. The ground opened. The maw rose. A massive, glowing aperture lined with tendrils that pulsed in time with Mylo's heartbeat. Mylo turned back one last time. "Thank you," he said. Then he stepped into the light. The integration. The maw enveloped him gently, like a parent lifting a child. The tendrils wrapped around him, not constricting, but connecting. The glow intensified, flooding the clearing with blinding green light. Rhea shielded her eyes. Mylo's silhouette dissolved into the light. The maw pulsed, once, twice, 3 times. Then the light dimmed. The tendrils retracted. The ground closed. The forest went still. Rhea fell to her knees. Kira sobbed. Jalen stared blankly at the ground. The jungle pulsed softly. A slow, steady heartbeat. Different now. Changed. Calmer. Rhea whispered, "Mylo." The vines overhead brightened. A voice echoed through the clearing. Not Mylo's voice. Not the maw's voice. Something in between. "I'm here," Rhea gasped. "Mylo, I'm here. I'm safe. And it's safe now." The forest pulsed gently. "Go. It won't hurt you anymore." Rhea stood slowly. "What about you?" A long pause. "I'm not alone anymore." The vines parted, forming a path. A real path. Stable. Open. Rhea wiped her eyes. "Goodbye, Mylo." "Goodbye, Rhea." The aftermath. They walked. For the first time, the forest didn't shift. The vines didn't reach. The predators didn't click. The spores drifted harmlessly. The jungle was quiet, peaceful. Hours later, they emerged into a clearing where the sky was visible. A patch of blue framed by towering trees. Kira whispered, "We made it." Jalen exhaled shakily. "We're alive." Rhea looked back at the jungle. The canopy pulsed once. A soft, gentle glow. A heartbeat. Mylo's heartbeat. She whispered, "Thank you." Then she turned and walked toward the horizon. Epilogue: The New Maw. Deep beneath the forest, the maw pulsed. Not alone. Not afraid. Connected. Mylo floated in the bioluminescent core. His body dissolved into light. His mind woven into the vast neural network of the forest. He saw everything. Every vine. Every predator. Every spore. Every path. He felt the forest breathe. He felt its hunger. Its fear. Its hope. And he guided it. Gently. Wisely. Humanly. Above him, the jungle shifted. Not to hunt, but to grow. To heal. To live. Mylo pulsed once. The forest pulsed in response. The green maw had a new heart. And it was human. This is the end of the sci-fi story, The Green Maw. Leave a like if you enjoyed the story, and subscribe for more sci-fi stories. Thanks for listening.